capital of Italy. They should also see the truth. Glass splinters everywhere, poop, and even dog that managed to poop up here. It's a bit disgusting.
In this video, we will show you how Rome really is without any filters. We arrived late in the evening by train from Bologna and we are pretty famished. Near where we are staying, we only found one place that's still open, O Famo Strano. We have learned to take reviews with a grain of salt, but this place is legit delicious. Eating just right beside the street.
That's an area you only come for food for. This is melanzani parmigiano in my sandwich. Oh my god. Welcome to Rome. Please don't step on the pool, but take a broom if you want to clean up. Also something you will see when you're in Rome, that people just randomly park anywhere, however they like. Just like that.
Since we are staying in a flat with a kitchen, we're buying some groceries first before heading to the Pantheon. Also, eating out in Rome can be quite expensive, and we would rather cook our own food if we can. The Pantheon is a former Roman temple, and since AD 609, a Catholic church dedicated to Saint Mary and the Martyrs, known as Santa Maria Rotonda. It is one of the best preserved of all ancient Roman buildings, in large part because it has been in continuous use throughout history. It was built on the site of an earlier temple commissioned by Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa during the reign of Augustus. The present building was ordered by Emperor Hadrian and probably dedicated around AD 126 after the original burnt down. Its date of construction is uncertain because Hadrian chose not to inscribe the new temple but rather to retain the inscription of Agrippa's older temple. Not spending too much time there, we're on our way to the Trevi Fountain. The Trevi Fountain is an 18th century fountain designed by Nicola Salvi and completed by Giuseppe Panini in 1762. It is the largest Baroque fountain in the city and one of the most famous fountains in the world. Unlike what Emily in Paris has been showing you, this is the usual scene here: crowds of people and trash everywhere.
The same in Paris, wherever tourists
So much
are,
garbage.
there's always rubbish. I mean, they could have tried to put in the bag.
Yeah.
No, they started to create a fucking ice cream tower. Oh my god, are all these coins?
The ritual of tossing coins was made famous by the 1954 film Three Coins in the Fountain and is supposed to guarantee the visitor's return to the Eternal City. A couple of times a year, the city sends in a team to collect the coins and donate it to Caritas. Then, we headed back to Sant'Ignazio Church. We passed by it earlier but we did not want to gate-crash a wedding. Look upwards as soon as you enter. You'll see the grandiose fresco painted by Andrea Pozzo around 1685 that stretches across the ceiling of the nave. It celebrates the work of St. Ignatius and the Society of Jesus in the world, presenting the saint welcomed into paradise by Christ and the Virgin Mary and surrounded by allegorical representations of all four continents. If you want to take a closer look, there's a mirror installed in the center for tourists. But it's not really necessary if you have a good phone. The fresco is obviously the main attraction here, but don't forget to explore the chapels on both sides of the church, as it also houses relics and amazing works of art from paintings to sculptures. It's definitely one of the more decorated churches we have visited. Afterwards, we went back to the Pantheon just to see how it is during sunset. To no surprise, it's still crowded with visitors. Though there's another thing standing out, a bright yellow Fiat Nuova 500, which was produced from 1957 until 1960. Continuing with sightseeing, our next stop is Piazza Navona. It is a public open space built on the sites of the 1st century AD Stadium of the Mission. The ancient Romans went here to watch the agones or games, and hence it was known as Circus Agonalis or competition arena. It is believed that over time the name changed to Inavone, to Navone, and eventually to Navona. In the 17th century, it became a showcase for Baroque design with works by Bernini and Borromini among others. Next up are the Spanish Steps, which climb a steep slope between Piazza di Spagna at the base and Piazza Trinità dei Monti. The monumental stairway of 135 steps is linked with the Trinità dei Monti Church, located at the top under the patronage of the Bourbon Kings of France, and the Spanish Embassy to the Holy See in the Palazzo Monaldeschi at the bottom. Let's go!
Five minutes later.
Let's go home. Are you tired?
Maybe a bit, yeah.
Okay. So that wraps up our first day of exploring Rome. The next day, we are on our way to the Vatican.
Welcome to burning Rome. Where's Nero?
Rome gets extremely hot in summer, and of course, the Vatican too. Temperatures very often reach a minimum of 40 degrees Celsius, and there's not much of a breeze around the city either. It gets unpleasantly hot and humid, so it's best to go sightseeing early in the morning or at night, unlike what we are doing currently, exploring during midday. Anyway, back to the Vatican City. As we all know, it is a landlocked sovereign country, city-state, microstate, and enclave, surrounded by and historically a part of Rome. It became independent from Italy in 1929 with the Lateran Treaty, and is a distinct territory under full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction of the Holy See, which is itself a sovereign entity under international law.
Almost shady.
Hot. We're through security.
Yeah, that was really unnecessary. I even beeped, but he didn't even flinch.
He didn't check. He didn't check you.
I always beep.
St. Peter's Basilica is the major tourist attraction here.
Need a little bit dusting.
Yeah. And it's also a welcome respite from the summer heat.
Well, third time in the Vatican.
It is one of the most renowned works of Italian Renaissance, and is the largest church in the world by interior measure. The church was initially planned in the 15th century by Pope Nicholas V and then Pope Julius II to replace the aging old St. Peter's Basilica, which was built in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine the Great. Construction of the present basilica began on April 18, 1506 and was completed on November 18, 1626. Catholic tradition holds that the basilica is the burial site of Saint Peter, whose tomb is directly below the high altar of the basilica, also known as the altar of the Confession. For this reason, many popes, cardinals, and bishops have been interred at Saint Peter since the early Christian period. You can also go up to the dome for amazing views of St. Peter's Square. The entrance is to the right of the basilica, where you need to pay by cash. There is an elevator option for a slightly higher price, but if you enjoy some physical activity, you can climb up the 551 steps to the top. Since this is our third time here and we have been up there, we're skipping it this time. We had more footage of the Basilica's interior, but unfortunately, I got pickpocketed. We know that Rome is a hotbed for thieves, however, we got careless and complacent. The incident happened on bus number 64. If you have been scouring online travel forums, it's been dubbed as the Pickpocket Express.
So Boo just got his phone stolen. We spent the most 3 hours in the super hot police station, Carabinieri. In case that happens to you, go to Carabinieri and not the regular police. They suck. Horrible. Still reading the police report.
It's a harrowing experience, but it's more painful to lose all that content from earlier. Though not all was lost, as I make it a habit to back up our files on a daily basis while traveling, which you should do too. Not letting this mishap bug us down, we still pushed through with our plan for the day. We headed to the Victor Emmanuel II monument and its surrounding area, which we wanted to see more of before sundown, but we'll just have to make the best out of this situation. There's a lot to see here, the monument itself and the ruins in Trajan's Forum.
Grapes. This is like back home in Bosnia. You would have the grapes and then you pick it from your window and you just eat it. I found a spot with no other people. It's
In 40-degree heat. Today, we are going to the Colosseum because what is a trip to Rome without visiting it? It is the largest ancient amphitheater ever built and is still the largest standing amphitheater in the world.
burning
hot.
When some of us had to stand over an hour in line to get the tickets and the other one was in the shade. Which one was which one?
I was in the shade, of course. Construction began under Emperor Vespasian in AD 72 and was completed in AD 80 under his successor and heir Titus. Further modifications were made during the reign of Domitian. It's built over travertine limestone, tuff or volcanic rock, and brick-faced concrete. It could hold an estimated 50,000 to 80,000 spectators at various points in its history, having an average audience of around 65,000.
How do you feel?
I feel super hot. The building was used for gladiatorial contests and public spectacles, including animal hunts, executions, reenactments of famous battles, dramas based on Roman mythology, and briefly, mock sea battles. Burning hot.
It's really...
Maybe it explains why the lines were not so long, because the last time we were here, it took forever.
But we also booked it online this time.
Yeah.
Last time I had to line up and buy it at the ticket office, so thank God that wasn't necessary this time.
It ceased to be used for entertainment in the early medieval era, then was later reused for various purposes: housing, workshops, a fortress, a quarry, quarters for a religious order, and a Christian shrine. Although substantially ruined by earthquakes and stone robbers, the Colosseum is still a renowned symbol of Imperial Rome and listed as one of the new 7 wonders of the world.
And that was it. Back in the heat.
After the Colosseum, the Palatine Hill is next in our list. It is the centermost of the 7 hills of Rome and one of the most ancient parts of the city. Yeah.
You pay a lot of money for an entrance. You see this? Bleached.
Bleached map.
That should actually help you.
The site is now mainly a large open-air museum, while the Palatine Museum houses many finds from the excavations here and from other ancient Italian sites. Imperial palaces were built here, starting with Augustus. Before imperial times, the hill was mostly occupied by the houses of the rich. Next up is the Roman Forum, also known by its name Forum Romanum.
And this is the last part of 3 locations that are ticket included. Let's see Forum Romanum from close up.
Finally, we visited this part.
Yeah. But I would always suggest go to the Palatine Hill first, and then you have a view to see what's in Forum Romanum, and then you can focus on that instead of doing it the other way around.
Citizens of the ancient city referred to this space, originally a marketplace, as the Forum Magnum or simply the Forum. For centuries, it was the center of day-to-day life in Rome, the site of triumphal processions and elections, the venue for public speeches, criminal trials, and also gladiatorial matches, and the nucleus of commercial affairs. The statues and monuments here commemorated the city's leaders.
Actually, I can't go closer.
Yeah.
I love it. I love these colors.
This is so-called Temple of Romulus. Romulus. So called.
So called. I mean, maybe names got lost over time.
Considered as the heart of ancient Rome, it has been called the most celebrated meeting place in the world and in all history. The Forum today is a sprawling ruin of architectural fragments and intermittent archaeological excavations attracting around 4.5 million visitors annually. Eventually, much of the economic and judicial business would transfer away from the Forum to the larger and more extravagant structures to the north, like the Trajan's Forum and the Basilica Ulpia. The reign of Constantine the Great saw the construction of the last major expansion of the Forum complex, the Basilica of Maxentius. This returned the political center of the Forum until the fall of the Western Roman Empire almost 2 centuries later.
Oh my God.
We then headed towards the Mausoleum of Hadrian, more often known as Castel Sant'Angelo. It is a towering rotunda in Parco Adriano and was initially commissioned by the Roman Emperor Hadrian as a mausoleum for himself and his family. The popes later used the building as a fortress and castle, and it's now a museum. The structure was once the tallest building in Rome. Despite having tickets, we were not able to get in, unfortunately, because we were told that it was past the cutoff time, which was not really the case. A bit disappointing, as it was supposed to be the last place to visit in our plan for the day. Luckily, and without much trouble, we were able to get a refund online. As an alternative, we decided to drop by Chiostro del Bramante. It is an Italian Renaissance building commissioned by Cardinal Oliviero Carafa around 1500 and designed by the architect Donato Bramante. Today, the building serves as a space for exhibitions, meetings, and concerts, and also houses a cafe and bookshop. So that's about it for exploring Rome. The city's history spans 28 centuries. While Roman mythology dates the founding of Rome at around 753 BC, it has been inhabited for much longer, making it a major human settlement for over 3 millennia and one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in Europe. There are still a lot of places that we have yet to visit or explore thoroughly. We would probably visit Rome again, but not in summer. Until next time, thanks for watching.
There you have the Vatican, and here you have homeless people sleeping in front of this Castel Sant'Angelo. What is the church doing about those people?